of things that I will share more because I don't know what to share. The master thesis to me, to some extent, is very essential, and to some extent, it's quite not essential. Do not kill me, Olaf. The thing is, I want to say sorry for the guys who enter the second year now, because you guys cannot go to exchange classes or exchange summer. I myself lost my exchange summer chances to Brazil between our university and one university in Rio de Janeiro this year because of the virus. I was expected I expected a lot for coming to that because it's more about like biology and economics things. The thing is, when you go to exchange courses, you will go out of the boundary of our master degree. So when you acknowledge very clear, our master degree is more about politics. There's some courses about social science, some courses about economics, and as I can remember, there's only one roughly about technology. And the thing is, I'm an Asian. I've been here more than 2 years. Norwegian at 2 p.m. before. So actually, to me, I want to say that it's a little bit hard to find a job here if you don't have like really Norwegian fluently things. So my choice is to go to PhD. The second choice to go to PhD is because when you study about sustainability, even in academic range, it's very hard to define. Someone says sustainability is this thing, someone says that it's a little bit different things. And for you to learn after all of the courses, and you ask how will you apply. So if you search on the net, I don't know much about Norwegian, but mainly I see is like consultancy about renewable, something like this. But when I went to my exchange summer course last summer in Denmark, so my course was about environmental engineering and sustainable engineering. It was quite fascinating because the whole class was about engineering, and they did a lot of fancy things. So it sparked for me like a kind of like STEM learning. So that's why I tried to go to PhD, and now I only can concentrate myself in economics, but not in the classic way, in more about like new ways like circular economics, bioeconomics, if you have listened to, and try to learn more about like data programming. Like if you have background in business and economics, you can be business analytics. So if you can study some extra course in our university, if you ask Olaf can help you because Olaf helped me. So I got to a course in, sorry Olaf, I love you a lot. So I got to a class about econometrics. Is the matrix, the math for you to measure econometrics. And that helps me a lot because it helps me to publish my article in a journal. That is also a foundation for me to apply PhD. And due to that courses that I also have more, how can I say, more competitiveness for the PhD application. My master thesis is not about social science. It's more about economics, more theory, more engineering. It's about how can you calculate the infinite role of material circularity. Just say you have a phone. After you use a phone, what do you throw? Where do you throw? You put at home. More than 50% of the Europeans you put at home and then they don't use it. That's when you kidnap the materials out of the society. That materials can be recycled. Don't laugh. That materials can be recycled. Love you. And you can do a lot of other things with that. There's just only some studies learned about that. People are trying to urge like Apple, Samsung, every companies to have more programs to receive your phone, give you some money, just like Apple trade-in, as I can remember. Yep. The thing is, I tried to contact Apple, but Apple didn't give me the data I need. So, but still, I can got the data. So don't worry about the data when you didn't got it. That's all.
Okay, thank
you.
Okay, Gunn Christine, business consultant at Wallis.
Yes, my name is Christine. My story is a bit complex, but I will try to keep it short. Because during my master, I worked part-time at MEES and part-time as a project leader for a sustainability coach program at Greenco. When I started my thesis, I started writing for Nordic Edge. But when I started my thesis, I went to a couple of meetings for the thesis to get more knowledge. And then I went to Qualisoft, and I was actually, they couldn't help me with the thesis, but I was offered a job as a business consultant. So my role was to develop a sustainability module for a system management program for the Qualiware. So I said yes. I worked there 80% and also tried to write my thesis. And I have 2 kids, so it was a busy time. But then I was able to finish making this module for sustainability. But then Corona happened, and they lost a lot of contracts. So I actually got permitted. But before after I finished my module, they put me to work for like moduling process for Wintershall, like our company. So I was not comfortable with that. It was not the job I was set up to do. So for me, being permitted was actually quite was nice. Because if you scroll a little bit back, we can talk about my thesis first. I changed my subject. First I wrote about autonomous buses, electric buses. But then I changed because I wasn't motivated of this subject. So now in collaboration with SmartBeam, I wrote about how e-democracy can reduce polarization in society and align the society. So it's a quite complex thesis to write. And when Corona happened, they also postponed because Stavanger municipality is testing this e-democracy platform because they want to align the citizens more in democracy processes. Corona happened and they postponed the test, so I didn't actually get to finish my thesis. They have now started to work full-time on this test again. So I didn't get a chance to deliver my thesis actually in August. I have to wait until November. But that worked fine for me because after working with them a long time, they actually wanted me as an advisor at their team. So now I don't have like a fast job with them, but they took me in as an advisor, mostly to get to know the team and hopefully get a full-time job thereafter. So it worked out nice. I'm still writing my thesis, and when I was permitted, I participated in a hackathon from Future Energy Hub. Our concept got second place, and Stavanger municipality really liked the concept. So when they were starting to have like this quick test, they asked us to apply. So we changed all of our concept and we applied, and we are now one of 5 companies. We have to start up a company to be able to do this. So me and 4 other students started a company. We were one of 5 companies that were chosen to participate in this quick test. When I was permitted, I just told them that I won't be coming back, actually. I don't want to work with like modeling processes for other companies. I want to do this. Bold move in these times. But now we actually have an office at Unlimited Storhaug. We got 300,000 for Stavanger municipality to create our prototypes. So we are actually building them and setting them up in Larvik Park in Stavanger to test them next week. And the company is about, we create like activity modules that can change function after what the citizens wants and needs for the parks. And we use like leftover massive tre materials for bigger massive tre projects like Finansparken in Oasis and Husene i Skogen. They create a lot of waste of material. So we actually collect this material, and with collaboration with Pababygg and Svetmo, we use this waste material to create value for the citizens. So it's actually a very exciting project where we can create circular economy with other companies. And yeah, and the bigger part of this company named Co-Creation is to like create arenas where citizens can be a bigger part of sustainable development in their close community. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to all of our speakers. Just a very quick summary. There's certainly a lot of different jobs, people at different stages. So we have Raphael, who's currently doing a PhD at Bergen. So we certainly have a lot when it comes to the research perspective, if that's what you're interested in doing. We have Tora, who's at the Stavanger Region's European office in Brussels. Magna, who is currently working with the environmental department at Folken. We have Rowan, who is currently on the SAR AS through Training Sawvest. Julie, who is at Starbank and Saw, where she's an environmental, social and government analyst. We have Victor, who's currently looking for a position, something perhaps orientated towards economics. And we have Gunn-Christine, who is, well, very interesting. Yeah, it's complex.
Started off their own business with a lot of other students.
Yeah,
so that's good.
So Tina and I just have a couple of very simple questions, but I think the more interesting element of the night is to hear from the alumni and also to have participation from the audience. So I think the best thing to do there is in a few minutes, once we've asked one or two questions, we'll open the floor to questions. We will repeat the questions into the microphone, and then we'll see if we can get some people from within the room and Tor and Raphael online to answer those questions. There were a lot of interesting things alluded to in the presentation by our alumni. A lot of people reflected on the MEES course. But I think we'll start with a couple of kind of pragmatic questions, and this is kind of a three-parter. And perhaps the best thing to do is to go first to the two that are online. So I think after this I'll unmute and maybe hear first from Raphael and then Tora. Just quickly, where did you find the job that you have now? Was it advertised online? Did you have to work hard to hunt it down? How many jobs did you apply for? And then just quickly reflecting on how the master's course has been useful for you getting the position that you currently have. So we'll just unmute.
Now?
Yeah.
Great. Mute yourself.
There you go.
Right, so as I said, I got quite a few interviews because I applied to, in the past year I probably applied close to 100 jobs. I can document I can probably remember 70, 80, but I applied on all kinds of places. I applied on fin.no. There's two big portals where you can make a master CV, and basically if it wasn't one of those three, if it wasn't Finn, one called Webrecruiter and one called Jobb Norge, so literally job with two B's if you're not speaking Norwegian, and then Norge, which is Norway in Norwegian. Those are the three main places I looked for, and Finn was probably the first place to start if I just wanted to look for generic keywords. Like at first I just looked for advisor, sustainability, political scientist, because that's my background. Yeah, a little bit of everything. And then once I actually saw the kinds of jobs that I was interested in, then maybe I put more specific keywords into that and to the two other web portals. And I also started in the other in all of the web portals, you can follow employers that you're interested in. And well, once I realized that maybe academia was also something for me, my first confession is when I graduated last year, I didn't think I wanted to do a PhD. But then I would see an application that I thought, okay, this is actually quite relevant for me. I don't have to, discover the wheel by myself when I'm making this application, because for some PhD applications, you do have to come up with your own project. For some, you don't. I found a couple that I felt I didn't have to come up with something entirely by myself. The one that I ended up getting is actually one of them. I had to write a shorter motivation letter and a longer motivation letter where I explained why I was relevant to the project. But the flip side is that now that I've started, I have to write the big project description that everyone else usually has to do before they apply. So I saved time maybe beforehand, but now is where I'm really having to find my place. And well, yeah, in the end, it was just looking for all the web portals, finding people that I liked, really narrowing down the kind of jobs that you were interested in or weren't. And honestly, there were, for some jobs, I can pretty much relate to what Ruben said, that he had no idea about his field before he started his job. I mean, that's not in my case right now, because I wrote my thesis on something relative related to the job I'm doing now. But for a lot of the jobs I applied for, it was kind of going on a slight limb. And even then, I at least got through the interview stage. So it's a big world out there, and you just have to sell yourself. And like I said, people want our background. You just have to sell why you and why you're interested in it. I think that's it.
Should I just take over? Okay, yeah.
Yes, please.
I can't hear you because you're muted.
I think she said yes, please.
Okay. 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 I don't have like a number of how many jobs I applied to, but I actually applied for most the graduate position like last year at this time. Yeah, I think I would have gone for like a graduate job, but no. But then I also like struggle to find like really relevant jobs, because everything you need like 3 years experience, or you need the autonomy part, and I have none of that. But yeah, I did apply for a lot of jobs, and it's quite stressful to apply for jobs and write the thesis and wonder like, what am I doing in a month or in 3 months? So I found the position I now have. I think it was Facebook or LinkedIn. It wasn't very like out there and like, hey, we have a position, but I stumbled upon it, and I read the text, and I was like, oh my god, this is me. And luckily it was. But yeah, I think you just have to like start the day like 5 minutes and don't get too obsessed, but just try to figure out what's out there and what you would like to do. And as Rafael and others said, like you really have to sell yourself, because it's not very clear, like energy, environment, society, that doesn't say a lot about me and my skills. So yeah, you have to sell yourself, and it's quite hard, I find. But why it's relevant, like why the master's is relevant for my job now, is mainly because, as I said earlier, that it's a very hot topic in the EU and generally, and working with these topics, it's yeah, and like trying to sell the things in the EU to the region and our members. Then they actually needed more knowledge in our like staff for energy and environmental topics. So my master's is one of the reasons why I got the job, but I also think it's like go on what is it called, like study abroad exchange. Do that. I went to Munich, and that gives you like international experience and new perspectives, which is also a selling point when you're applying for a job. And last summer, I really was looking to find like a summer internship, but I couldn't find anything relevant in for like our studies. So what I did, I just got my CV and I just sent it out to different people and companies. And then I suddenly got the position for a summer internship in Spirit Energy, an oil and gas company. But that also gave me experience that was valued now. So I think for us, we really have to get out there and or that's, you don't have to, but that worked for me at least. Yeah. I'm not sure if I answered the last question. I probably.
Can I just add, I forgot to say, the master's is very much relevant in terms of, you just have to sell yourself. Sometimes finding an internship, like Huda said, can be a make or break thing. So that's why it's important that it's part of the program now. Otherwise, really try to find it by yourself. All the power companies in the country have an internship program that's relevant for us. Lisa, Statkraft, BKK, look for them all over the country. And then the last thing was just, like Huda found her job. I technically found mine on Twitter and not on all these things that I look for, because I realized that Twitter is where the academic world feeds its job postings. And also the public sector in Norway uses Facebook for way too many things. So if you like a company, follow them on social media. And my Facebook ended up being a job searching profile and not a place to socialize. That's me.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there's some very good points made there. I think particularly about finding the relevant area that job postings are like to be for the field that the career opportunity you're looking to explore. I think given that Raphael was mentioning internship and it's come up quite a bit in the introduction given by the alumni, perhaps we could have Robin and Magna maybe come up and just talk a little bit about the internships they did, maybe about how they were useful, because both of you have gotten positions directly related to your internships. So if you could start, Magna, and then maybe Robin, if you have something additional to come up afterwards.
Yeah, I was super happy to get an internship in the first place originally, and I wasn't selected, but I chose not to care and contacted the county governor anyway. And the environmental department director wanted me in there. I think it's important to, if you have an interest for it, to try to figure out how the skills we acquire in the master's program and through whatever background you have from before is relevant to any job. So just getting to test yourself in a working environment was to me very useful, and to see what kind of expectations they have to you and in a full-time job, and also what kind of, let's say, requirements they have in different types of workplaces was also useful. I mean, I've worked in politics before this, but politics is just about being able to bullshit your way into a job and being good at bullshitting while you speak, and also having pointy elbows and stuff, and that's, a lot of fun. And, I still occasionally do it, but it was nice to get in to try something more real, if you will. So I definitely recommend doing an internship. It's highly useful. And also, while you're a student, I think it's been said a lot, but try to diversify your background while you're studying. So take on some positions in student life if there are any relevant available. I've done tons of it, and that's probably what gets me interviews at least. It hasn't gotten me any full-time, hasn't gotten me any permanent positions yet, but hopefully it will, as well as the master's, of course. But whenever I got into an interview, they always point out that my my CV really interesting. So it's also a way to get into interviews to really diversify your CV, having positions all around. I still currently have one. I'm a board member of something called ECIU University. So UIS is a member of a consortium of innovative European universities, and the consortium is called ECIU. And they have started something called the European University, which is a call from the European Commission, so the government in the EU, for alliances to get together and sort of try to reshape the higher education system as we know it, and kind of disrupt it too. So we're looking into a lot of stuff about abolishing degrees and macro credentials and closer corporations with businesses and industry. That's really interesting. It's fun to be part of. And that is also